I'll just start with the intro. I'm working as a BI consultant for last 8 years. So I work on and off like a freelancer as well as a full-time employee. And for the last 8 years, I've been working with different data-related technologies. If I name a few, so I have worked with Alteryx Tableau in the like analytical and reporting space, and I've worked with ETL tools like Informatica and some big data technologies Hive and like working on different Hadoop platforms, HTTP and all. So that is what my experience is. I'm an Alteryx Advanced Certified developer. And for the last 5 years, actually, I'm using Alteryx and Tableau. And for the last last 3 years, I've been also teaching candidates, helping out candidates with Alteryx and Tableau queries and stuff. So if I just give you a brief intro of what Alteryx is and what actually it is used for and why it is in demand these days. So Alteryx is basically a self-service analytical tool which allows you to perform a couple of different types of tasks. So it is not just like some people consider Alteryx as an ETL tool, but it is not just an ETL tool. It is a package. It's a complete package. So if I talk about a couple of things that you can perform or do using Alteryx, the first thing is it helps you to perform ETL tasks, or if I just tell you what that is, so it is extract, transformation, and load. Basically, you are bringing data from different sources. If you are working with Excel files or if you are working with database tables, so from varied sources, from different sources, you pull the data, you transform it as per the business requirements. Either you perform some filtering, either you create a summary of it, or whatever transformation you are doing. Then once you have done the transformation, then you load the data into the target. So this particular process is called ETL process, or the extract, transformation, load process, which Alteryx can help you to perform. And why we are preferring Alteryx compared to other ETL tools that are in the market is because Alteryx is very easy to use, first thing, and it does not require any coding. So if you're using Python, Informatica, so they are very, like the learning curve is really high for those tools, and then you have to be very specific with the syntax and everything. So when you talk about Alteryx, it is less syntax based, so you avoid those errors, what you usually see in Informatica and other tools. So that is an advantage of using Alteryx for the ETL currently. And then apart from that, since it is just not an ETL tool, it is a complete package. So the other things that it offers is within the same tool is it allows us to perform geospatial analytics, which is like if I give you a simple example. So when you use Google Maps or some other map service like Apple Maps or Google Maps, so what you usually do, you put a location point A, and then you put a point B, and then you calculate like if I have to travel from point A to point B, what would be the travel time or what is the distance. So that kind of analytics that you do, that like when you use Google Maps, so that is giving you that output, right? So you can create your own workflows that will use some inputs like latitude and longitude values, and accordingly it will help you to give you those outputs like the travel time, the distance, and all those kind of stuff. So you can use Alteryx to do that kind of analytics as well. Apart from that, if I give you another example, is like if you have, let's say, 100 shows available in a particular country, and then you want to find out like if I'm talking about only 5 metro cities, so out of those 100 shows, how many of those shows falls under these 5 metro cities. So that kind of analysis also you can do, like where you are checking whether a point falls into a polygon or that kind of stuff basically. So that is called geospatial analytics, and Alteryx helps you to perform that as well without writing any code. So it is just a drag and drop of tools, and then connecting them in a sequence, like as per the logic to create a workflow, and using that you can perform geospatial analytics. And the last thing that, not the last thing, but another thing that Alteryx is expanding in is the data science area, where they are allowing you to build data science models. So again, you don't have, usually when you talk about data science, the first two things that comes to mind is a Python language and the R language, because these are in the trend for the data science. But when you talk about Alteryx, so Alteryx has already created these models in R language for you, some generic models, and you can utilize those machine learning models as per your business case. You can tweak the configuration a little bit to make the predictions. So it is again saving you some time, and you don't have to write the code from the scratch to create the machine learning models and perform predictions and all. So for that also you can make use of Alteryx. So it is expanding in that area as well. Apart from that, Alteryx can also help you to create some basic reports, not of like very high level, but you can create like earlier you used to create reports using Excel and then send those Excel files, formatted Excel files over the email to the business clients and stuff. So Alteryx can help you to automate that entire process of getting the files, transforming it, doing all the filtration or whatever data processing you have to do. Then you can do all that and then you can write that output to a PDF or a whatever chart you are creating. So you can create some basic level charts and then send those charts or those files as an attachment over the email to your business customers. So depending on where your areas, like where your business use cases, you can use Alteryx for different areas. So first thing is you can either just use it as an ETL tool, then you can go for a data preparation or data analytics, which is mainly focused on, if I talk about the job profile, so data engineers usually perform ETL using Alteryx, and data analysts perform data preparation and then creating some reports and stuff. But then if you go into advanced analytics, then we have the spatial analytics, and if you go into the machine learning part of it or the data science, so what do they call? They call it as citizen data scientist, which is like you don't have actually writing the code from the scratch, you're just using some existing code and tweaking it to get the desired output. So this is what basically Alteryx helps you to do as a whole. So it is a package, complete package to perform different types of tasks. Apart from that, if I talk about the product, so mainly we have two categorization here. So they like keep on launching some small add-ons and different kind of products. But if I focus on the main products, that they have Alteryx Desktop Design and the Alteryx Server. So you can consider it like a client and the server, and you can have a standalone client as well, like just application to create your job, so that will also work. And then you can have a client like a desktop application plus a server architecture, which gives you some advantages over the just using the client. When you have a server, you have some advanced like 24/7 availability and all those different other parameters available, some advantages available. So these are the two main focus areas that we have. And as a part of the training, we are going to focus on the Alteryx Desktop Designer, which basically is used to create the job or the workflows that we just discussed in the previous slide. So this is what we are going to focus. And if I talk about the job market, 90% of the job descriptions, they are asking for Alteryx Desktop Designer or developer. So this is what they're focusing on. Alteryx Server is something like on the server side you don't have that much of tasks available, so main focus is on the designer. So Alteryx Server is required only 10%, and mostly the requirement is for the Alteryx Desktop Designer 90% of the time. And also the training will be focusing mainly on this, and we will just touch base the Alteryx Server part, like what actually it is and how it is linked with the designer. But the training would be mainly on the desktop designer part. If I show you what Alteryx actually looks like. So Alteryx is nothing but a desktop application available only for Windows and not for Mac. And this is how the application looks like. I'll also, once you enroll for the training, I'll tell you the process to install it and how you can get the license and stuff. So if for the Alteryx, if you talk about the license, it is really expensive. It is $4,000 per year per user. So it is really expensive. I'll be telling you how you can get it installed on your machine. Free version and different types of versions available. So that is something that I'll be sharing once you enroll for the training. So this is how, once you install the designer client, this is how it will look like. We have where you can see that so it is nothing but a desktop application. Once you launch this desktop application, so there are different windows available here. On the top you have the tool palette, where you can see all different tools that are available that you can use to create your jobs or workflows, whatever you want to call it. The white area here, we call it canvas, not to draw, but to create your job. So here you bring in tools from the tool palette and connect them in series to actually create a job, whatever you want to perform basically. At the bottom, you have the results window where you can see all the results. If there are any failures, success, so whatever is there related to the execution, you can see at the bottom in the results window. On the left, you have the configuration window where you can see or configure different tools that you are going to bring in your canvas. So for each tool, you will have a different configuration, and this configuration window will change accordingly when you select any of the tools in the canvas here. Then you have just generate some different menu items. So those are just generic menu items that we will cover as a part of the training. So if I just give you a simple example of a workflow that how you can create it. So first thing you need is an input tool, because whenever you are working with any data technology, you need some data to work with. So you need an input data tool. So from the favorites category, I can just drag and drop this tool here. And then as I bring this tool into my canvas, uh, so each canvas is a new job or a new workflow. So I have new workflow one open here. If you want to start with a new workflow, you can click plus, or you can go to file, new workflow. So that is one way of opening a new workflow. So once this is done, now Alteryx allow you to connect to like almost every possible data source available in the market. So you can connect to Excel files, different databases, cloud databases, and different applications, APIs. So whatever you can think of, Alteryx can allow you to connect to that and bring data from that. And also, since you can connect to that technology to bring the data, you can also write to that technology. So you can like have to and fro options available to connect to various different technologies. So when I click on this drop down here, it opens up this data connection window, and from there I can select where I want to connect. So I can connect to different file formats. I can connect to Excel and stuff like Excel file, CSV file, and all different file formats you can see here are available here. If I go to the data sources tab, here I can see all different databases, these are all different data sources that are available. You can connect to, and same. So since you are able to pull the data from these sources, you can also write to these different sources. So what I'll do is, as an example here, I'll just connect to one of the Excel files that I have here. So I'm just dragging that Excel file from my local machine to the canvas, and it will give me the options. Like since I'm connecting to an Excel file, it is giving me different sheets that are available in that Excel file. So I can select, and so there is one employee sheet available in my Excel file which contains the employee record. So I'll keep this input data tool here, and I'll just delete the one that I don't need. So simply just select the tool and hit delete button on your keyboard, or you can just right click and delete. So pretty simple. And once you have the tool, so here you can see a preview of the data. So it will give you a first 100 rows if you have thousands or millions of rows, whatever it is. So I only have 15 rows as of now. So preview window gives you a preview of your records, a 100 row preview, and then you have some configurations available here. So you can see when I click on this white area, the canvas, I see a different configuration here. When I click on this input tool, I see a different configuration here. So this is how basically the configuration window will change dynamically based on the selection I make on the canvas. Now let's say I want all my salesmen, all my managers into a new table or a new file. So what I can do, there's a tool called filter. I can bring that tool from the tool palette again. If you are not sure where to find it, like you have different tool palettes, different tool categories. So from the top right search bar also you can bring the filter, or you can type a similar keyword which is, so I'm just searching for filter, and then I can see that there are two filters available. So I'll bring that filter tool. I can drag it from there as well, from search results as well. Now I'll do is I want my job to be manager. So what I'll do is I'll select my job equal to manager. So pretty simple configuration, nothing fancy, just like you do in Excel and stuff. Job equals to manager, and now you can see that I have not completed the entire job, but still I'm able to run it. So this is an additional advantage of using Alteryx. So you can run your job at any point of time, even with just one tool, but that does not make any sense. So I'll just keep my filter connected to my tool, and it automatically connects to the previous tool. So when I bring any new tool, it gives me this connection option that they automatically connect. If you don't want that, you can manually connect these anchors, so input to output and so on. So you basically create a chain or a series of tools connected together. So when I run this workflow, I can see that there are two anchors. One is the output, like true output anchor. The other one is the false output anchor. So from the true output anchor in the results window, I can see three records are there, which is where the condition is true, and similarly I have other records where my condition is false. Now I can just use an output tool. If I want true results, I can connect it to my true output. If I want false results, I can connect it to my false output, and then I can load it to a table. So just like I connected to and configured my input tool, similarly I can configure my output tool. I can write to a database table and so on. So this is a pretty simple workflow. I can just now save it. I have options to save it to my gallery, which is like a common place to share all your workflows and stuff. And then you have different, you can save it on your local machine as well. So if you have a server available, then you can save it to the gallery. So gallery is nothing but a web interface, uh, or you can consider it like a website where you can see all your published workflows. So if you go to gallery.alteryx.com, here you can see. So this is a publicly available gallery. It is not a private gallery. So for each organization, you usually have a private gallery, but this gallery.alteryx.com is the public gallery where you will have the publicly available workflows. So all these are different Alteryx workflows that the users have created and shared with the wider audience, so that if others want to use it, they can make use of this. So you can see there's a utility here for converting PDF to tabular format. So these are like some workflows or add-ons that you can use to ease your task or something like that. So these are publicly available workflows. So here also I guess you can find that Outlook tool, yeah, which helps you to read the attachments in an Outlook email. So this is how you can basically make use of Alteryx. As a part of the training, so what we are going to cover, this training is going to be of about, the entire duration would be 20 hours. And in those 20 hours, what we are planning to cover, so we will be focusing on those 20 hours on so introduction, mainly how more deep dive in the Alteryx Designer, like all these tool palettes and how these things work. Then main first topic that we are going to cover is restructuring the data, or how you can manipulate the data. Then so initial 5-6 classes would be on data preparation and blending. So joining your data sources, handling your data, like cleaning your data, and then we will be working on creating some static reports using Alteryx. So how you can do create reports. Then we will be focusing on spatial analysis, which I just gave you an example about Google Maps and stuff. So similar kind of thing we can perform. So we will cover that as well. Then again some data manipulations and stuff. Then there are different types of workflows that we can create in Alteryx. So one of them is Alteryx application. So that we are going to cover. Then we have macros. So when you have some repeatable tasks and you want to automate that, so you make use of macros, just like you have macros in Excel, but a more streamlined and a better version of automating the process that we have in Alteryx. Then we have fuzzy matching. So, and then we have some basic predictive tools. So for the predictive tools, it depends whether you want to focus more on the macros, because that is more in demand compared to the predictive tools as of now. So it depends on the candidates whether they want to go like do more sessions on the macros, because I have a lot of case studies on all the topics that I'm talking about. So for all these topics, I have different kind of case studies that we are going to cover as a part of the training. And then we have some time series forecasting, depending on the interest of the candidates and the use case they have or the area of business they are going to work with. So if they want more focus on the data preparation, ETL and macros, then we'll focus more on that. If they are okay with the little bit of that and little bit of the predictive modeling as well, then we will be covering these advanced topics, which is predictive modeling and stuff. So we will be touch basing with that. And at the end, we will be working, like we will be covering how to schedule jobs. As I mentioned, this training is mostly for the Alteryx Designer, but for 1 or 2 sessions, I will be covering Alteryx Gallery and the server part to give you so that you know when you're working in a real environment, how you can save your workflows to a gallery and stuff, and how you can schedule your job. Then I will be helping you with some certification questions, not giving you the dumps actually, but as we progress through the training, I will be sharing with you some tips and tricks and the questions that are usually asked in the certification. So I'll be helping you with those questions during the training phase basically. So this is everything. This is all I have. So the entire duration would be 20 hours. It depends how we want to schedule it. Mostly it is going to be weekday sessions, 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on the availability of the trainer and the candidates as well. That's pretty much all from my side. If you have any questions. All right. Thanks for joining.